This episode is sponsored by Circle K. Get the most savings on every gallon when you fuel with the Circle K Fleet Card. Learn more at CircleKFleetCards.com.
Hello and welcome to the State of the Fleet Industry, a weekly video series produced by Automotive Fleet magazine and which is sponsored by Circle K. I'm Mike Antich, editor of Automotive Fleet, and today I'd like to examine what's occurring in the fleet industry for the week of January 10th, 2022. And I'd like to start this week's report with a famous quote attributed to Henry Ford about the development of the groundbreaking Model T that was launched in 1908. And he's reputed to have said, quote, "If I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses," end quote. Now, whether or not Henry Ford actually uttered these words is open to debate, but it does capture a truism. And the truism is that customers can easily describe a problem, but not the best solution. And I bring this up because last Friday, January 7th, was the conclusion of the 2022 Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, which showcased the latest in consumer technologies. And over the years, I've attended the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES as it's called, and to date myself, I've been attending back to when there were actually two CES shows, a winter CES in Las Vegas and a summer CES in Chicago, held at the massive McCormick Place Convention Center. But in those days, I never attended CES to see the latest in automotive technology. That was reserved for the other major auto shows such as Detroit, Frankfurt, Tokyo, and Geneva auto shows. But over the years, CES has gained the reputation as being a center stage to when you want to showcase the latest in automotive technologies. And this was dramatically illustrated by GM's decision to have its CEO, Mary Barra, unveil the 2024 Chevrolet Silverado EV during her January 5th keynote address at the 2022 CES show. One surprise was that the Silverado EV will have a 400-mile driving range on a full charge and be able to tow up to 10,000 pounds. This is exactly what fleet managers wanted to hear. Plus, with a 10-minute charge with a DC fast charger, the Silverado EV can add an additional 100 miles of range, which goes a long way to eliminating range anxiety concerns and concerns about lost productivity in recharging an EV. And as you can see from the photo, the first production of the Silverado EV will be offered exclusively in the crew cab model. Plus, it'll also offer four-wheel steering, which will allow it to crab walk, similar to the GMC Hummer EV, which will come in handy, especially when working in tight confines, such as a construction site where many work trucks spend their work days. Also announced during the keynote address was that GM plans to launch 3 additional EVs in 2023. Those are the Chevrolet Equinox EV, the Chevrolet Blazer EV, and the Cadillac Celestiq ultra luxury sedan. In other news, it was also announced on January 5th was that Ford opened its fleet order banks for the 2022 F-150 Lightning EV pickup. And due to strong demand in both the retail and fleet markets, Ford will increase the planned production to 150,000 units per year. And the most recent announcement on the EV front is from Stellantis, which announced the introduction of its Ram ProMaster EV van, and also that its first commercial customer will be Amazon, which will use a ProMaster EV in last-mile delivery applications. This rapid-fire barrage of EV announcements during the first 2 weeks of January has been nothing but breathtaking. And I don't know about you, but I'm really having trouble keeping up with all of the announcements of forthcoming EVs that'll be introduced in the next several years. And I'm sure I'm not alone. And to assist our fleet manager readers, in the January 2022 issue of Automotive Fleet magazine, we've created a comprehensive 10-page directory showcasing 54 new EVs that will be introduced between now and 2024. And what makes the Automotive Fleet EV directory breathtaking, in my mind at least, is that the automotive industry has invested hundreds of billions of dollars into these products in the way of research, product design, battery development, and so on, all within a very concentrated product development window. The old objection that fleet managers once had that, the current EVs in the marketplace can't meet their current fleet application, that objection is disappearing as more and more EV products in various and all vehicle segments are being announced. And last month, President Biden signed an executive order that pledged the U.S. federal government by 2027, that's 5 years from now, will only buy zero-emission light-duty vehicles for its federal fleet. With all of this going on, I'm convinced that the next several years, the automotive OEMs will be able to sell all of the EVs they can manufacture. But while there is this ongoing explosion in the number of EV models that will be entering the market, the overall size of the market is not anticipated to grow as substantially. So the question arises is whether this increased product availability and proliferation of new products is going to be leading to product cannibalization during the upcoming years. So for instance, Tesla currently has a 50% market share of the EV market in the US. With 54 new EV models entering the market by 2025, one research company, IHS Markit, projects that in the space of 3 years, Tesla's market share may decline to as little as 20% of the total EV market. One thing is certain, within the next 5 years, there promises to be further and faster rates of change that we will all be experiencing in the automotive industry, and it will be at unprecedented levels. But this leads to another truism. Where there's market change, there's also market opportunity. So with this final observation, I'd like to conclude my State of the Fleet Industry presentation for the week of January 10th, 2022, and I'd like to thank you for watching.